Hello and welcome to the morning sports briefing here on Saturday, the 30th of May. Welcome to New Zealand Sports Radio. We help you start the day the best way, up to date with all the important news every day at 7 a.m. in the morning. And today in the news, the compromise over neutral venues, the Farah Palmer Cups have announced, and NRL action overnight, plus lots and lots of motor sports news. Let's kick off with the football then. And in the football, Torpedo beat Smolovich 2-1 in the Belarusian Premier League. Yes, that's the league that's kept on playing all the way through, and our favourite football league. That means they've moved up to second. Smolovich still have not won a game all season, so not a big win there for Torpedo. Gorodea are currently losing 2-0 to Neyman Gordon. Gorodea being Stephen from the Far North's team. And that's even though the opposition have had a red card, Stephen. So, yeah, your boys not going so well at the moment.
Not great, Paul. I'm not impressed at all. It started off poorly, then they look like they got themselves back into it, but they've just had a run of losses lately. So, all I can say is roll on the super season, Paul.
Moving on to other news, in the FA Cup over in England has been rescheduled to start. The semi-finals will be on the 11th and 12th of July, with the on Thursday. The Premiership said it was returning on the 17th of June. So, hoping to finish all its 92 games. But the FA Cup will also get through. The quarterfinals were on the 27th to 28th of June, which are Leicester City versus Chelsea, Newcastle United versus Man City, Sheffield United versus Arsenal, and Norwich City versus Man United. They'll come back, and then the final will be on the 1st of August. Talking of the Premier League, the police have asked for 6 games could be moved to neutral venues at the request of local police. Those 6 fixtures are Man City versus Liverpool, Man City versus Newcastle, Man United versus Sheffield United, Newcastle versus Liverpool, Everton versus Liverpool, and the game in which Liverpool could secure the title. That's obviously to deal with crowds and to make sure, because they're going to be played behind closed doors. So that's the situation that they said. We have reached a consensus that balances the needs of football while also minimising the demand on police. So yes, previously they had talking about playing all their remaining games at neutral venues. Moving over to Spain, and La Liga will resume on the 11th of June, and then next season will start on. That means they should wrap up the season by the 18th, 19th of July, and next season will start on the 12th of September. So, if you're a fan of Barcelona or Real Madrid, look, they're going to be back pretty soon. And that brings you up to date with the football news. And I'm going to hand you over now to Stephen, who will be taking us through our birthdays.
Oh, thank you, Paul. I'm just getting a little bit of feedback there. Hopefully our internet connection will stay strong this morning, because we do have some birthdays. An Auckland-born Brisbane Bronco, a Kiwi Rugby League international, and finally a Women's World Cup winner in 7s and 15s. And that's where we start the birthdays this morning. Renee Whitcliffe, born this day, the 30th of May 1987, is a New Zealand female rugby union player. She represents New Zealand and Auckland. She was in the squad that won the 2010 Women's Rugby World Cup and the 2030 2013 Rugby World Cup Sevens. Whitcliffe was named in the Black Ferns squad in the 2014 Women's Rugby World Cup squad. She was also included in the Black Ferns squad for the 2015 Women's Rugby Super Series in Canada and was named in the squad for the 2017 Women's Rugby World Cup. In 2019, she was part of the winning team of the Women's Super Rugby Series, scoring a hat-trick in the final deciding game against England. That's a lot of squads. Tony Iro, born this day, the 30th of May 1967, is a selector and assistant coach of the New Zealand Rugby League team and a former rugby league footballer. He was a New Zealand international, a veteran of 25 tests, playing either on the wing or in the second row. Iro, who turns 53 today, made his debut for the Kiwis in the 1988 World Cup final against Australia. Playing on the wing, he scored a try on debut, but the Kiwis were well defeated 25-12 in the final at Eden Park. And finally, Antonio Winterstein, born this day, the 30th of May 1988, is a former professional rugby league footballer who played for the North Queensland Cowboys and the Brisbane Broncos in the NRL. A Samoan international captain, he was a member of the Cowboys' 2015 NRL Premiership and 2016 World Club Challenge winning teams. Winterstein, who turns 32 today, was born in Auckland. He moved to Brisbane in his early years, playing junior rugby league for Logan Brothers, and attended Marsden State High School, where his classmates included NRL future stars Israel Folau and Chris Sandow. Winterstein joined the Sydney Roosters Jersey Flag side in 2007 and played for their inaugural NYC in 2008. And that is birthdays today.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for bringing us up to date with the birthdays today. And let's hope you'll have a nice cake and enjoy their birthdays. Over in rugby, and World Rugby has confirmed 10 law trials or law rules, trial rules to allow for coronavirus. These are all optional for unions to use if they believe they need it for health and safety in their region. New Zealand has come out and has said that looking at our situation, we do not expect to have to use any of these, the rules, and World Rugby is aware of that. To run you through quickly what those 10 rules are, they're going to remove the resetting of scrums where there's no infringement. It just falls down. That's going to be a free kick. Hookers must use a break foot to aid scrum stability. No scrum option at penalties or free kicks. So you cannot take that as an option. You have to kick. Goal line dropouts when an attack is held up in the in goal. So yes, reducing the number of scrums that we're going to have. Reinforce the high tackle framework, and sin bins will be 15 minutes for players there. Remove the choke tackle and reward for the defensive team. So this is when a player is tackled and held up and create a maul, and hence the ball gets turned over. So again, that's to get people to tackling lower and keeping heads away from each other. For the ruck, you're going to use it. The duration is now going to reduce from 5 to 3 seconds. But in all honesty, we never really saw the 5 seconds enforced anyway. And no scrum for failure to use it at a scrum, ruck, or maul. It'll be a free kick to the non-offending team. Finally, in mauls, no one can join a maul if not in it at the start. So that's going to be interesting as to how that gets policed. Obviously, mauls will predominantly be from, or will exclusively be from lineouts. So basically, if you're not in the lineout, you can't join the maul. And only one forward movement at mauls rather than two currently. So yeah, those are the new optional laws that we will not see here in New Zealand. The top flights, Black Ferns and Black Ferns Sevens, will be playing in the Farah Palmer Cup this season. It's set to restart in August, kicking off on the 22nd of August. All 13 provincial teams are going to be involved, and which set to have 39 matches. There's going to be a revised format with teams being split into northern and southern pools for 7 weeks of round-robin games before 2 weeks of playoff matches. They've not announced how that is going to split, but you would have to say that Northland, heading from north down, Northland, North Harbour, Auckland, Counties Manukau, Waikato, Bay of Plenty would be probably the northern section, with Taranaki, Hawke's Bay, Wellington, Tasman, I've got blank, Canterbury, and Otago probably being in the second, being in the southern pool. But we'll have to wait for that announcement. Also, the schedule has not been announced either, so who's playing who. So we'll look forward to seeing that as well. And that brings us up to date with our rugby news. I'm going to hand you back to Stephen for our league update.
Thanks for that, Paul. Having a few little internet issues, so I've just popped across to I've just basically popped across to my Tribe app here in front of me. So we'll get some of the results from overnight. And that's where we'll pretty much.
Don't worry, Stephen, it all happened smoothly behind the scenes. The viewers didn't know it. We could have got away with that one.
Oh, absolutely. There you go. Well, it won't be as smooth as normally, so I won't be using the teleprompter this morning. But the overnight, the Cowboys, as expected, proved far too strong for the Titans, coming away with the win by 36 points to 6. And that was after leading 12 points to 6 at halftime. In total, the Cowboys scored 6 tries to 2 in the victory overnight, and that was 2 tries to the winger Hampton, and Robson, coming off the bench, also picked up a brace of tries as well. So a bit all too easy at home for the Cowboys last night. And undoubtedly the game of the round last night, the Roosters proved far too strong in the end for the Rabbitohs by 28 points to 12. And that game, I think, was played at Bankwest. Yes, it was. It was played at Bankwest Stadium last night. Just some of the action by the look of it. The 5 tries to 2 victory after a 12-6 halftime lead. Now, before this match, a lot of interest about Latrell Mitchell, who the former Rooster, who transferred through to the Sydney Roosters. When quizzed at the end of the match, former legendary coach Wayne Bennett just really did not want to talk about it. He's going to be fielding a lot of questions over the season about that particular move. And finally, just in action today, games to look out for. We've got the Warriors v Dragons at 5 p.m. New Zealand time today. Hopefully they can get across the line and win. Of course, both of these teams have gone in with not a great deal of form, if you think back to the very start of the season. And then, of course, at 7:30, we've got the Sharks versus the West Tigers. And in our final game, another beauty to look forward to, and that's the Raiders v the Storm. And that's at 9:35 from AAMI Park in Melbourne. So maybe I'll probably just tip towards the Melbourne Storm. Sorry about a couple of technical errors we've had this morning, but we made it through, Paul. Always pays to have a backup plan.
As you said before the show must go on in our pre-show chat, and so it has done. Moving over to sailing, and this weekend is the New Zealand Open Teams Racing National Championships. Boy, that's a mouthful. Being held in Kerry, and there's going to be a bunch of professional sailors taking place, because a lot of the Team New Zealand sailors are going to be taking part in this race. Teams racing is done in 420s, which is the youth version of the 740 boat, and with an optimum combined weight of the two sailors of being 130 kg. So some of the bigger sailors who are on the take part in the America's Cup are expecting that they're not going to be, or they're expecting to get beaten, even though they are professional sailors here. So yes, the way this works is each team has 3 boats, and so you'll end up with 6 boat races, and it's the winners of each race is the lowest combined score of those 3 boats. So it's a team event, which makes it really exciting racing and some really interesting tactics. There are 14 teams taking part, and the racing will take place from the 30th of May through to June the 1st, so over this long weekend. So yeah, some really interesting racing up there, and yeah, I think quite a few of those, I say the boys from the America's Cup are going to be a bit overweight for their boats. Don't forget, you can listen to us as well as watch. So if you prefer to listen, then download us as a podcast. You just search for New Zealand Sport Radio in iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favourite podcatchers. The best place to watch us is on our Facebook page, and we would much appreciate it. If you have enjoyed the show, please do share the show with your friends and family. Moving now on to motorsport, and particularly starting Formula One. Renault have said they were going to stay in the sport despite job losses. Renault have just announced 15,000 job losses as part of a cost-saving plan because of the drop in sales by the coronavirus pandemic. But they can confirm they intend to stay in Formula One. They see the reduction in budgets, or the new caps, as being a way that could make them competitive again. They do not have the same sort of budget as Mercedes, Ferrari, or Red Bull, and that has really impacted their competitiveness. But they see this as an opportunity to become competitive again with a more equal playing field on the spending front. Unfortunately for Williams, though, they have decided to put the team, or look for extra investment in their Formula One team after making a £30 million loss last year. All options are on the table at the moment, whether they get a small amount of investment, or whether they get it, or actually sell the whole company, or just a share in the company. All those options are on the table at the moment, and they are so. If you have the odds to spare £1 million or so, or several £1 million, then you want to get involved, then in Formula One, then Williams are an option for you at the moment. They are the team that have won the most ever races in Formula One, but have come last in the last 2 seasons. Again, they just not had the budget to keep up with the big 3. Moving over to the Moto Grand Prix, or the bike racing, and the British Grand Prix has been cancelled because of the effects of coronavirus. It was due to take place on the 28th to 30th of August, but unsurprisingly, that has now been cancelled. 5 races now in the Moto Grand Prix season have now been cancelled, and others have been postponed. It looks like the season is aiming to start in Spain on the 19th of July. And finally, another cancellation as well. The Boston Marathon has had to be cancelled for the first time in its 124-year history. And yes, again, they just it was initially delayed or postponed from its original date of the March the 13th, and tentatively was going to be run on September the 14th, but safety concerns have meant that has been cancelled. You have now started the day the best way, up to speed with all the important sports news. Do join us again here on at 7 a.m. on New Zealand Sports Radio for the morning sports briefing.